Hello, I'm going to add a new page to my Hestia website. So to start with, I just visit the website and then in the URL I add wp-admin. Then I press the enter key on my keyboard. I see the login page, put my username and my password in. I'm logged into my website. Now, in almost every page you view on your website, you'll see this new option. If you're in the customizer, you won't see this new tab here. This is the admin bar at the top, and you see that almost all the time. When you're in the customizer, you won't see it, but generally speaking, it's at the top all the time. So all I need to do is, if I'm viewing the site, I can still see it here, so I just hover over new. I want to make a page. I just type in a title and some content. So it says add title, and then I can paste in some content. Where it says type a / to choose a block, you can either just start typing there, or you can paste some text in. I'm going to paste text in, but first of all, I'll just show you what happens if you press the /. You get a list of commonly used blocks, and if you wanted to add a heading, you could just choose that. You could choose a list. If you need to write a paragraph, you don't need to do anything, you can just start typing. But if you type a /, it'll show you some commonly used blocks. I'm going to paste in some plain text that I wrote in Windows Notepad. Whenever you want to convert text into a headline, make sure there's a line break between the two paragraphs. So this is one paragraph, this is another paragraph. And if I just place my cursor in that paragraph, click the first icon in the toolbar, I can change it to a heading. So heading 2. Make this a heading 3. And this one make a heading 4. Now I want to add a featured image to my page. So if you look here, there's this WordPress settings sidebar. So if we open the WordPress settings sidebar, choose the page tab. If you were making a post, it would say post there, it'd be page or post. And we can add a featured image here. Now I've already got some images in my media library. If I didn't have any images in my media library, I could upload a new image. I want to use a media library, and I want to use this image. So set featured image. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to save the draft. And then down here we'll have a link. I can click this link here, and it'll show me my page. So this is what we've got so far. We've got a featured image, my post title, and some text. Now I want to go back to editing the page. So there's this tab here that says edit page. Now there are a lot of WordPress blocks that are built into WordPress. So first of all, I want to have a new line. So at the end of a paragraph, I just place my cursor, press the enter key, then there's this button called the block inserter. And we've got different options here. I can use blocks or I can use patterns. First, I'm going to insert a block, which is a WordPress block. Now I want to insert an image with some text. So what I'm going to do, you can just scroll down and look through, pick one that you think might be useful. But what I want to do, I want to use the media and text block because I'm going to put an image at the side of some text. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to search for text, and that'll give me different blocks that I can use that have got text with them. Now the one I want is called media and text. So click the button and it will insert it in the page. I can now add an image from the media library. I'm going to use this image, and at the side I can paste some content or type in some content. So place my cursor and just either type or paste some content. Now I want to put a little headline above this. So with my cursor in the paragraph, I click the options button, the 3-dot options button, and I want to add before. Now that's a paragraph at the moment, but if I click this paragraph button, I can change it to a heading, and I want it to be a heading 3. Now if you look in the block inserter, we're in the blocks tab. There are a lot of blocks that you can insert just by clicking the icon, and it will insert that block into your page. And you can just experiment and play with the different blocks and see what you think. If you don't like them, just delete them. But what you can also do, there's this Patterns tab. And if we scroll down to Hestia, the Hestia patterns are specific for this theme. So all we need to do now is choose a pattern, and it will be inserted in the page. You can insert as many as you want. I could insert some more below that. So if I wanted a call to action, click the button and it inserts it in the page. To close the block inserter, I close the button there. And now I can just edit any of the text. Just select the text, type in your own text. To replace an image, we just need to select the image, click the replace button, and then you will be able to replace the image with a different one. Now, whenever you've got any block selected, suppose we've got this block selected. If we open up this WordPress settings sidebar, we've got the page option and we've got the block option. Now, because this block is selected, these options are specific for that block. So we could change the text color, could change the size of the text, now sometimes you'll see this dimensions, it doesn't show you any options, but there's a plus icon. So if we click that, we can open up the padding options, or the margin options. So make sure if there's something you can't find, click the little buttons and see if you can actually open up the options you need. See, there's typography, we've got more options, we've got letter spacing, letter case, things like that. So make sure you have a good click around, especially in the different options. Now another thing you can do, if you're in the page tab, or if it's a post, you'll see post there instead of page, but you've got the block tab and the page tab. If you scroll down, you'll see you've got these different sidebar options. Now these override the sidebar settings that you set in the customizer. So if I chose to have a left-hand sidebar or a right-hand sidebar, that would only affect this page, not other pages on the site. Now over at the other side, we've got the undo and redo buttons. So if you make a mistake, just click undo and you'll go back one step. Undo only goes back to your last save. So if you've saved your document, you can't undo it to a point previous to that. This used to be called the list view. They now call it the document overview. And it's just a list of all the blocks. Now, one thing that's really useful to know is how on earth do you navigate in such a complicated layout? So suppose we click this paragraph. The paragraph is nested inside a group, that's nested inside a column, that's nested inside a columns block, inside another group block. So where on earth are you? And sometimes you really want to be right at the back at what they call the top level block. But the easiest way to do it is just click inside here, and then there's a gap between the first icon and the other icons. And whenever you've seen a gap like that, if you click this icon, it'll take you up one level. I want to go up another level because there's still a gap there. There's still a gap here, so I want to go up another level. And there's still a gap between the first icon and the rest of the toolbar. So I click it again, and now it's all one toolbar, there's no gap. And that means we're in the top level block. Now that's important because if I want to add another block above or below this one, I need the active block to be the top level block. So I've now got no gap there, and I can add above or below. So just click the three dots options, and if I click add before, I've now got my cursor in a new line, and if I wanted to, I could open this block inserter and either add a new block, or I could choose one of the patterns. I'm going to choose the Hestia patterns because they're made just for this theme. And supposing I wanted to add this one, I just click it and it's inserted at that point. To close the block inserter, we click the toggle button there, and now we've got that block. Now between these Hestia patterns, these fancy blocks, I like to put some space. So we're now at the top level block. I'll put my cursor in here just so we can navigate back. There's a gap between the first block and the rest, so I just click that one. Still a gap, click again, still a gap, click again, still a gap, and now there's no gap. And what I want to do is to add before, and I want to add some space. Now what I could do, I could just search through here for space. I would just type in there space, and it'll give you a spacer. But if you know what the block is called, you can just type in here, type a / and type space, and it'll give you the option to add a spacer block. Now the spacer block is 100 pixels high by default. If we open up the WordPress settings sidebar, we can see it's 100 pixels high. I don't want it to be 100 pixels. I want maybe 50. Although it's 75. Now I want to add another spacer below this block. So all I need to do is duplicate it and then click the down arrow to move it there. I'm going to duplicate it again, click the down arrow again, and now I've got some space. So I'll save the draft, and then we get the view preview. And I'll just mention what's going off here. Because we've searched for something, WordPress is showing us other blocks that we could install along the same lines. So this is another spacer block, and if you wanted to, you could install it. Now I don't want to. I'm just going to clear that. I'm going to close the block insert so I've got more space, and I'm going to save my draft again. That opens this preview option here. Click that and we can see what the page looks like. So this is what we've got so far. Once again, I want to edit the page. Now, if you've used WordPress before, you'll be aware of things like margins and paddings. With Hestia Theme, there's a special type of spacing option. So if we select somewhere in here, I'm going to open the list view. These are three little lines, the list view. And if we look at this columns block, let's see, this column block here. If we have a look at this, we'll discover that there are 3 groups inside it. That's group, group, group. Now, the column itself has got a special setting applied to it. So if we look here, there's this block spacing. And if you watch the gap between these blocks here, I'm going to change the block spacing, and that gap gets bigger or smaller. And also, if you look at this gap, this is called the gutter, between the columns in a column block. So we've got the columns block with columns inside it. Now if we click this columns block, we click the styles tab, we've got block spacing. Now if you watch the gap between these two columns, this is one column and that's another column. So on this sideways block spacing, if we change that gap, it gets smaller or bigger, depending on the option we choose. Now if you look here, there are 3 group blocks, and each group is made from a paragraph, a headline, and another paragraph. But why are these made into groups? Well, there's actually a reason. Flexbox is a type of cascading style sheet code. Now, Flexbox cannot break into or out of boxes. It only affects the top level block in the container that you apply it to, which means if we apply block spacing to this column, the spacing will appear between these groups, but it won't affect the content inside each group. And that's really handy. When you've been using these settings for a while, you'll realise that it really is convenient being able to do it like this, to isolate individual groups of content and then apply block spacing between those groups. So we've got the column selected. If I click the styles tab, change the block spacing, I can really easily design the layout I want to have. If I open up any of these groups, I could, if I wanted to, well, let's see. Now with this one, if I wanted to, if you watch the space between these individual paragraphs here and swatch, see that's changed in this group, but not in the others. So now we've got space here and here, but not in the others. And that's why it's so convenient being able to apply block spacing and to have the layout built into different groups. How will your site visitors find your blog post or web page after you've made it? If you make a blog post, then WordPress will automatically list that blog post in your blog or in a category if you make categories. So if I made a new blog post, it will be automatically listed on the blog page of my website. These are categories, and so if you make a blog post and put it inside a category, then WordPress will list it in that category, but it will always list it on your blog page. So you don't have to do anything. And if you want to, you can make a category and place your blog post in a category. And so then you'll have 2 options, being able to view it via the blog page and via the category page. So I'll just edit this post, click the edit post button. Now, when you save your blog post, we're in the WordPress settings sidebar, in the post tab and not the block tab, the post tab. If we scroll down, we'll see we've got categories. Now, if we expand the categories tab, we can see any categories that we've made. Now, if you've not made any categories, you'll have a category called uncategorized, and all your blog posts will be automatically saved into the uncategorized category. If you want to, you can click this button that says add new category and make a new category. And to place your blog post in a category of your choice, you just click the tick box. You can place blog posts in more than one category, but I always just try and pick a single category to place my blog post in, and it makes it a bit easier for the people who are navigating your website to understand what each post is about. So we're in the WordPress settings sidebar, scrolling down to categories, and WordPress will automatically store your new blog post in the category of uncategorized unless you pick a category that you've made yourself. If you made a web page, it will not be listed in your blog page. So let's say this Get Involved page. If we made this page, we would have to actually make a link in the navigation bar to link to this page. And we do that via the customizer. So we go Customize. Now we want the menus option. And we can pick any menu that we've made, or we can create a new menu. I'm just going to add a link to the current menu, and I'm using the main menu. I made a menu called main menu. Now, what you've got to do, click this button that says Add Items, and you can now add any page you want. You can add pages, posts, categories, custom links. I want to add a page, and the page is called Get Involved. So see if we can find that one there, and I just select it, and that has now been added to the end of my menu. You can just drag it to move where it is, but I'm just going to leave it there just to show you. I'm just showing you how this works. So I'll click Publish, and we should have a new link that says Get Involved at the end. So I'll close the customizer, and you see this link is here. So we've got one there, and I've added another one there. I'll get rid of it because it's in the way there. I was just showing you how it works. Go back to menus. The menu I'm using, which is this one called main menu. Scroll down to the link. This is quite a complicated menu because it's quite a big site. All I need to do now, expand, remove, and the link that I made is now gone. I'll publish, so we're back where we started from. Close the customizer. Now, whenever you edit a page, make sure after you've finished editing that you click this Save button, and that'll save your changes. Now, after you've clicked Save, you'll see this View Page option here, so I'm going to click that, and I can see the page that I've made. Now, I want to log out of WordPress, and the way you do that, in the admin bar at the top of the page, you'll see the admin bar almost anywhere on WordPress, providing you're logged in. No one else can see it, only you can see it when you're logged in. You hover your mouse over your username here and just click Log Out. You're now logged out of WordPress, and you'll have to navigate back to your home page. And there you are, logged out. Well, that's been quite a long video, but it gives you a good idea of how to make blog posts and web pages using Hestia Theme. I do hope you found it useful, and I do hope you like using Hestia. It is a good theme, and it's an especially good theme for people who are new to WordPress. It's relatively simple to use, and it's also very powerful. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoy using Hestia. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.